Coming up, I show how to install a Delco radio in your GM car, including installing an AUX cable attachment, plus possibly converting it to Bluetooth. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you'd like to support this channel in another way, the link is in the description. I just installed speakers in this car, and to go with it, I'd like to be able to control what kind of music I play in the car. You can actually modify these radios to put an AUX input on the front. You can even put a Bluetooth dongle on the end of one of these AUX cords. Link in the description. These things are typically battery powered though, and you'd have to charge it with a USB jack. I could probably convert them to Bluetooth too by buying some sort of a dongle and powering it through this radio on the inside. I used to use this tape cassette to AUX adapter in my car in order to get music off of my phone onto it. My new one's tape deck player doesn't actually work. Now that my cassette player doesn't work, I have no way to play any music of my choosing besides the radio in the car. You can also get Bluetooth tape cassette adapters. Link in the description. There's also an option to buy a retrofit radio that is a lot more modernized with a CD player or Bluetooth or an AUX cable already built in. I'll include the links to those radios in the description. They do look very similar to these, but they're not exactly the same. I really do like that OEM look. These old Delco radios tend to die. I've actually gone through 2 or 3 of them. The problem with these cassette players is that they have a lot of moving parts. They break over time. So it's probably a good idea to do some internal wiring that doesn't have to have any moving parts in order to ensure long-term reliability of these radios. There are many different styles of these radios depending on the make and model of your car. Black buttons came in a lot of trucks. Silver buttons came in some of the fancier cars like Oldsmobiles and Buicks. The gray buttons actually came in the Pontiac Fieros, and I think in some of the Trans Ams or Firebirds too. Some have premium sound, some have extra speakers in the headrest, some have subwoofers, some cars even have these style of radios with an equalizer. This style of radio actually was not original to the Fiero, and it has a different connector for both the antenna and the main audio connector in the back. It also has some minute differences, like it doesn't have a power button. Instead, you turn the knob to power it on, and some of the buttons are slightly different color. In order to use this radio in the Fiero, you're going to have to get an adapter, link in the description. These radios are made for 10 ohm speakers in the front and 4 ohm speakers in the rear. First, we're going to start by opening the trunk and removing the panel and then disconnecting the battery. Usually they're 5/16 inch sockets, but mine is a 9/16. Make sure when your wrench is on the positive terminal, you don't contact the wrench to any metal in the car because that'll create an arc. Then while the positive cable is disconnected, you could touch the end of the cable to a metal part of the car, discharge any capacitance in the system. Installing the radio really isn't that hard. It might help to put the key in the ignition and move the car into neutral or first gear in order to get this shifter out of the way. I have this center console tray available at the Fiero store. I'm just going to pop it right off. On this car, all you've got to do is take out these 4 T15 Torx bit screws and then entirely remove the front panel. Be very careful with this plate coming off because it is old and it could crack. Make sure you don't over tighten the screws when you reinstall it. Then there are 4 7mm screws to take out of the radio, and then it should just pull on out. Then take the clip off of the main connector first, reach around the left side of the radio. Then you can unplug the antenna and the other connector too. Once again, I found wire butts on this car, so I tested each one by giving it a light tug, and sure enough, one of them came loose. So I'm going to patch this one up. Problem with this one in particular was it looks like when they went to strip the wire, they used the wrong size and they actually cut into the copper wire, causing it to weaken and pull right off the end. This is really not good for a clean signal. Some cars came with different configurations of these centering pins here. Some of them are shorter and longer, and then there's 2 positions on the back of the radio. I believe the Fiero uses the shorter one, but use whatever your car had. The Fiero uses the bottom one. This sets both the depth and the location where the radio is supposed to sit. Also, there's different style of antenna adapter. This other style radio does require an adapter to get into the Fiero. Link in the description. You might have to transfer the mounting brackets on the side to the new one. These are just 2 10mm nuts. Now we're going to plug all the connections back in, and we're going to test the radio before we do the final fitment. Then reconnect the battery. Then ignition on, and let's test test every aspect of this thing. First, the AM and the FM. I'm going to try the balance in the fader, left to right, front to rear, and both the treble and bass equalizers. Then the tape cassette player with my auxiliary port. This cassette adapter doesn't quite cut it. For some reason it gets distorted when there's a high volume coming out of the input device on the tape recorder. You can also hear the sound of the tape player actually playing and some static too, which is really annoying. And now I'm finally going to test this aux port, see what it does. The aux port input is really crystal clear. Interestingly also, if you plug anything into the aux port, everything else is overridden. Well, I'd say that's time to button this thing back up. Unfortunately, this adapter is pretty bulky and there's not a lot of clearance behind the radio for anything. So you're gonna have to try a few different things to get the adapter to fit back there. I had to get these wires out of the way of the centering hole by trial and error. There is just enough room to get your hands behind here and reinstall the rest of the radio. Put the 4 7mm screws back, then put the cover plate back on. Also, if you have an iPhone, in Apple's infinite wisdom, they took away the auxiliary port on their phones, so you have to get one of these adapters. Link in the description. There are other people that do this. There used to be another guy who did this on forums a while ago, but it seems like he's disappeared recently. Or you can find one on eBay. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can support the channel below, and I'll leave you with this catchy song here.